So, good evening and welcome to episode 1 of A School Called the Universe. And why have I written this book and who am I to write books like this? And why have I called it A School Called the Universe? Well, because we're continuously learning. And what are we learning? We're learning to unlearn. We're letting go of belief and fear and the idea of guilt and the idea of sin. And in essence, we are remembering what we are. And it's a bit of a journey. And ultimately, it's important for you to know that I don't actually know anything. I know no thing. And all I know, and that I know without a shadow of a doubt, is that I am. And you may go, what are you? I am. That's it. I am. I guess I could add, I am that I am. And I would have to stop there. And it'll make sense as and when we go along. And of course, please take notes. And really, the purpose of all of this and in the writing the book is I write as a way to remember what I am, or remember what we all are. And I guess one could say that from from day dot, from as far back as I can remember, I've wanted to know why I'm here, what I am, what created me, and why this mess, why this planet, why such a cruel and vengeful existence. So I'm going to start off by reading the prologue to A School Called the Universe. Now, those of you that have perhaps heard about this book, this is a culmination of my life's work, but it's not the end. I guess it's just the beginning. And there's a prior book called A School Called Earth. Don't bother with that one. All the important parts of A School Called Earth are in this one, and more importantly, written from a non-dual perspective. The second book, The Reawakening of Consciousness, the true return of the Christ mind, again, don't bother. It's in this book too. So really, A School Called the Universe is a culmination of my prior 2 books and my understanding from a non-dual perspective of really what was I writing about. But I'll kick off with the prologue. And that's the only part I'm going to read to you. The rest I'll just paraphrase myself. So, in the early hours of that June winter, it was 1974 if you want to be specific, my bedroom was freezing outside. It must have been close to 0 degrees Celsius. I'd woken with a familiar scent in the room. I used to smell, I can't explain it. It's beyond roses. And I knew that in a few minutes, I would again have an extraordinary visitor called Uriali Lu. And now that's how I've written it out. If you could really say the resonance that you hear in the introduction of his name, it would sound something like this. Uriali Lu. That's what I would hear, and then the apparition. The house was dark and asleep. Not a single sound could be heard. And in a few moments, my room would light up like the sun. Yet no one in the house would wake up or be disturbed. It was always like this. The worst that could happen would be some teasing in the morning by my mother and my sisters, because they would say, Lou is talking in his sleep again. I was 9 years old, and I really hated the world and all the people who lived in it. But this visitor was different. And I'll pause here for a second. I mean, truly hated. It was an intense hatred. I really could not stand people. I intensely hated human beings. And I mean just about every human being. He, Uriel, had no hatred, no prejudices, no judgments. And he made me feel as though I was important enough to warrant his undivided attention and unconditional love. The only annoying thing was that he never remembered my name. And he always addressed me as what sounded like my second name, Miguel. If you're wondering why I said always, it's because he had visited me in this manner as far back as I can remember. And I can remember being born in the spirit world, where my spirit being resides, and many of my past lives too. Unbeknown to me, this visit was in this particular winter morning was different to any other visit I'd ever experienced, and the one I will never forget for as long as I exist in form, and I know that I will exist forever. Michaelu, he called, and that's what he would call me. This is the annoyance that I used to, like, why is he calling me Michaelu? Yes, Lord, I answered, since I had read the passage in the Bible about Joseph, and that's how he had answered. Michaelu, what is it that you want? Wow, I thought, my own genie in a brightly lit bottle, as my mind scrambled for something important to ask for, including a car for my parents and a bicycle for myself, so I would not have to walk to school every day. I used to walk 13 kilometers to school. It felt like an eternity as I thought of the consequences of a futile request, but eventually I settled on what I thought was a 10 out of 10 answer. I want to be wise. So wise that I know everything, so that I become so clever that my wisdom can help everyone in the world. That way, all that are like me will never be hurt, and no one will ever say that people like me are stupid, strange, and children of the devil. I waited anxiously to see if it produced a magic wand, but instead, the magnificent white light that surrounded him disappeared, as if someone had switched off the sun, and in the darkness, the shadow of a man remained. I felt afraid, really afraid, because I loved these visits, and now I felt as if my whole universe had collapsed, because I'd said something stupid and ruined the friendship. Now there was a grown man in my dark room, and I wondered what hurt he was about to dish out, because that was my experience with grown-ups, just physical hurt and abuse. Uriel slowly walked to the edge of my bed, his footsteps making the wooden floorboards creak, and sat with his full weight on the edge of my cheap second-hand mattress. Michaelu, he said, I know that you are afraid, but you must not be. You and I are friends back home, and I am here to help you and guide you. I know that this world is tough and very cruel for a young boy like you, but you are here for an important reason, and now you must remember why you are here. I am ready to stand by you and help you until the time when you no longer need me. So again, I ask you, Michaelu, what is it that you want? And are you sure that you want to help people? Because the people who most need your help are also the people who are the cruelest to you. I put on the bravest voice I could and replied, yes, I do want to be wise so I can help people. But can you please stop calling me Michaelu? Because my name is Luis. Luis is the name of your projected body in the dream, Michaelu, he replied. Michaelu is your soul family name, back home in the first dream. Now, bearing in mind, I recall this conversation like it was yesterday. I had no idea what he's talking about. Absolutely none. First dream. Michaelu is what you are. It is what we are, my little brother. And in time, you will remember. In time, we will all once again return to God. And I'm going to give you a little quote. The Chochra Michaelu comes out of the Kabbalah. This is a quote from Dr. J.J. Hurtek, who wrote the book, The 72 Sacred Names, the Chochma Michaelilu. Chochma Michaelilu. Michaelilu, or Michael, is the defender of the word. He ensures purity and continuance of the word in accordance with the Father's plan for our creation. His wisdom is freely given to the saints, and through his power, he stands up on behalf of the righteous one. So let me take a pause now. What is a school called the universe really about? It's me sharing with you a journey, a possible journey, which you too can follow within, that will bring you to the awareness of what we all are. It's a book that, and some of it is written in not the 9 o'clock news style. Some of it is written quite scientifically. Some of it is written as a story. Some of it is a bit of prose and a bit of poetry. The whole point of it is to show you that there's absolutely nothing special about anyone throughout history and time in the world of form. We are one indivisible self, one holy Son of God who fell asleep and had a dream of separation that in truth never really happened. Every night you go to bed, you fall asleep. Sometimes you dream, sometimes you do not. But when you dream, you localize in your dream. You find yourself in your dream, surrounded by characters and activities. And there you are, as you in your dream, experiencing a myriad of experiences. When you wake up in the morning, you may have been disturbed by your dream. But a day or two later, it matters not what you dreamed, because you now, a day or two later, realize the content of whatever you dream was not true. It may have seemed real while you dreamt. Your dream reality was very real to you while you dreamt. But as soon as you woke, as soon as you became awake, you realized this is awake, that was dream. That is not real, this is real. And the exact same thing is happening to all of mankind. One mind asleep, one mind fractured into billions of beings. Beings are simply thoughts that have appeared to take form. Thoughts in form. And so thought, formless thought, spirit. Formless thought projected into form, human beings. Within each spirit is the light spark. Within each spirit is the memory of its true self. The essence energy, the spark, the memory for God, the Holy Spirit within is our true essential nature. And we share our true essential nature with every living being and organism in the entire universe. It's the same individual shared energy. That energy is the only thing in the entire universe that is real. It seems to animate us. It seems to be within us. Fact is, we are within it. We are characters in one dreaming mind. When you dream at night, that character, where's that character? Where are all the characters in your dreaming mind? Do any of those characters think? Or are you thinking through all of them? Are you experiencing the content of your mind through the characters in your dream? Do any of the characters have a say as to what they do? Do any of the characters have free will? Or only you as the dreamer, which gives animation to those characters in your dreaming mind, has free will? The free will to what? To remain asleep or to awaken? And do you really have free will to remain asleep? Or is it inevitable that the light has come and that you will awaken to self. That's the essence of this book. So that somehow, if you really start to contemplate the possibilities that I'm presenting in the story of Lou, you can realize and make reference to your own experience, and perhaps get triggered into realizing you've already know everything I'm saying. This is not new to you. When it resonates within you and you go, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, of course you know that. You of course know what you are. You just seem to have forgotten. You just seem not to realize that you cannot forget what you are. And since you cannot forget what you are, you cannot forget God. It's impossible. You cannot forget that the very essence of what you are is unconditional love, the unconditional lightness of being. Now, there's different schools of thought. If you look at the Buddhist school of thought, it takes the collective. Just imagine a big lava lamp, massive lava lamp, this massive ooze, and it just sinks down to the bottom, splits up into little balls, and it goes up and down. And eventually, as it heats up, it becomes one big blob at the top of the lava lamp. Imagine the lava lamp, and those little balls going up and down eventually settle at the top, one big blob. Okay? So there's no, from the Buddhist perspective, there's no individual you that incarnates and reincarnates, incarnates and reincarnates. Every time you go up, you mix with a collective ooze, and it filters back down as something different. So then what is past life memory? It's memory from the collective ooze. That's one way of looking at it. Partially true in the dream. There's the individual soul spirit path where billions of thoughts took form, and now each thought form projects in a cycle of incarnation until it figures out what it is, then dissolves into the right-minded light of awareness. A second school of thought in terms of the reincarnation process. Which one is true? Both. It's a collection. So the collective ooze is made up of 12 fractured cells. When the mind fell asleep, it split into two, yin yang. So we're talking about sleeping mind now, not awake mind and right mind. When the sleeping mind fell asleep, it split into two, yin yang, dark and light. One half of the dreaming mind took the dark path. The one half of the dreaming mind took the light path. What does that mean? One took a vengeful path, angry, deliberate, controlling, and one took the gentle path. They became the victims, they became the bullies. The mind split into two. The mind then further split into 12. The dark split into 6, the light split into 6. Now, within each split is the memory of self, hidden. So each split is unaware, the memory is still retained. The memory, the soul, the life spark. Those 6 then split. Now, they've split once into 2. The 2 don't split into 2, and now you have 4. The 6 split into 144, 144. And so the split continues. It splits, the mind splits 6 times, 6 levels of dream consciousness. At the lower level of that, 9 septillion thought forms. Those thought forms all belong to one of the 6 in darkness and in light. So some return to awakening through the dark path. Some return to awakening through the light path. This one went through the dark path. Okay. Most of the spiritual community went through the light path. And because it didn't have enough of the dark path joining the awakening community, it didn't find the realization of through duality, we remember what we are. Spiritual people love to say shit like, one should not judge. Oh, you're judging. You shouldn't judge. Hey, that's a judgment. You've all heard of the neti neti. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not this. I'm not that. It's only through deduction, evaluation, which is all judgment, that we realize what we are through the experience of what we're not. Now, one should not judge means that one should not find fault with what's out there. But if informed from an evaluative point of view, by all means. The important thing is when you catch yourself judging, don't judge the judgment. Don't judge the judger. Step back, be aware, let it go. It's impossible while you're informed not to have some form of evaluation. And if you pay close attention to people that are constantly spewing forth, thou shalt not judge, they're constantly judging. So don't get too hard on yourself for judging. Just be aware that you're judging. And then return to being aware. Not of the judgment, just of being aware. Whichever path you travel on, it's going to bring you back to being aware of being, or being aware of being awareness. Ultimately, it's all about returning you to the knowing of what you are. And what are you? If I was to explain it in a scientific way, you're pure energy, pure unadulterated energy, ever extending, the joyous energy you are. What's that energy? What is that energy you're speaking of, Lou? That energy is that which we have named God. Pure light energy, ever extending. Well, if everything is energy extending, pure love, pure joy, pure godliness, how did this happen? Well, can't answer that with the very mind that caused this to happen. I can speculate, but then I'm just speculating illusion. Simple interruption in the energy flow by its own accord. And yet the energy flow never stops flowing. And so the dream illusion, 16 billion years of a universe, is already over. We're watching it on replay. And the reason we seem to be watching it replay, is because we haven't forgiven ourselves for imagining the impossible and forgetting the I am possible. Because what are you in truth? You're limitless possibility. And you'd still be limitless possibilities in your awareness had you not feared your own making, had you not feared your own imagining. And the minute fear entered into your imagination, sin was the next result and guilt followed. And the minute you felt guilty, you fell asleep. Now, I've given you the two places, the lava lamp and the individual path. Ultimately, as each one of us awakens, the cluster from which we came, as we separated, 1 became 2, became 12, became 144,000, and so forth. And we'll go in that detail at later episodes. Eventually, you're one of 9 septillion. As clusters awaken to self, they then stop projecting into the dense planets like Earth, and then they choose lighter incarnation. And so sometimes those projections, those beings that have the thoughts and form that have projected to other dimensions, then incarnate in this one, and they become what the spiritual world likes to call the light workers, or there's a myriad of names. In essence, nothing special. It's all one indivisible self, one lava lamp awakening to the light of the lamp. And the light of the lamp is what it really is. Just pure light, ever extending. Don't worry about the judgment. Don't worry about any of it. But what you do worry and should completely focus on is to be yourself, totally as you are, as authentic as you can be. Forget trying to be spiritual, holy, or whatever. Just be yourself and follow your passionate nature. Whatever's passionate for you, whatever gets your jingles going, whatever gets you going, really excited, do that. But be yourself. If you're the kind of person who likes to be polite, be polite. If you like telling people to fuck off, tell them to fuck off, but do it with passion. Be yourself. And through your passionate path, your script will be revealed, and the revealing of what we all are will come to you effortless. The more effort you put in acquiring what you think you need to do in terms of your purpose, the more effort you go, the more resistance you encounter. The more resistance you encounter, the more you persist. The more you persist, the more it resists. There's only one path, a line. And a line means return to the path of least resistance. Lao Tzu, been teaching that for thousands of years. Sun Tzu, Japanese art of war, the path of least resistance. But you can go blue in the face and say things like Jesus said, I seek mercy, not sacrifice. You can teach people the truth. You can share it. It's nice. You can quote it, put it on a postcard, put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook. Until you've had the direct experience, the revelation, and revelation cannot be expressed, cannot be explained. You can prepare for it. And how do you prepare for it? Let go, let go, let go, forgive, 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 until there's nothing, no obstacles to peace. And then the revelation. And when the revelation comes, you will know. And how will you know? You will know. And it will change you, but you'll still be the character until it's time to put the character, body, mind down and return. And when you return, awake to self in physical form, when you awake in physical form, your body puts down, your body dies, and you've awoken to self. In other words, the recognition of our shared being, the awareness of our present moment awareness. That energy spark doesn't return to dream, spirit world. It returns to right mind. It just disappears from dream awareness, from dream consciousness. It disappears from dream consciousness, moves into right-minded awareness. How do I know? Because I was shown. I got a glimpse into right mind and then brought straight back down and go, okay, that's great. What does it feel like? It's impossible to, because you don't feel. It's just an awareness. And the only way I can explain, tongue in cheek, it feels like a full body orgasm with ice cream in your mouth. It's just beyond explanation. And once you get a glimpse into it, once the reveal comes, the at-one-ment, the atonement to self, it becomes everything you've ever wanted and the only thing you want, which is to be thyself knowingly as the eternal extension of the love of God. It's what it means. It's what the Bible means by seek ye first the kingdom and all else shall be given you. And the innocence and the beauty that comes to you, like Jesus said, come to me as little children. It's just beautiful. And then you'll recognize, okay, so Jesus is actually me. It's a character I projected that became a guide to the rest of my fractured selves. But in actual fact, Jesus is actually self. Because it's all self appearing in the vertical dimension illusion. And it's always here now. And it seems like we're traveling through time. It seems like your life starts and here you are, and someday your life will end. And in that holy instant, you'll realize the vertical. And you'll realize what seemed to be time is always here now. Always here. You're traveling, it seems like you're traveling up and down. You're always here now. Not in time, always here now. And the minute that's recognized, it just takes you up the vertical. And it gives you that revelation, the reveal of being thyself knowingly. Present moment awareness is all there is. The holy memory of God, Holy Spirit's not a memory, it's a present knowing. Yes, to the dreaming mind, it's a memory, but when it's aware here now. And that's Papa G's great teachings. Be here now. Nisargadatta, one of my favorite teachers. Be that you are. I am that. And to you, it may just sound like words, but when the revelation comes, then it cannot go away because it's now done. It's dialed in now. It's dialed in, plugged in, awakening. You can't go back. And then what happens between ask and thee shall find? What's the distance between ask and you shall find? Your willingness to give up the concepts of what you will find. Time collapses when you give up any preconceived idea and belief and you truly want to know. Here I am. Show me. Like, here I am, Father. Show me. I let it all go. I will thy will. It's all will. All of it's will. What's will? Will is I am. Beautiful name, William. Will I am. William. There's a reason why Francis Bacon wrote the name of his books and his plays was William Shakespeare. Will I am. Pure will, that's what you are, God's will. And why Shakespeare? Well, he liked to shake a spear. He had some fun. I remember that memory like it was yesterday. Much Ado About Nothing. Favorite play. The favorite teaching. All the truths in that. Macbeth, okay. Much Ado About Nothing. The story of mankind. So I hope you enjoyed this first one. We're going to go into the layers. I'm going to now, from this episode onwards, I'm going to go into the dynamics of the spirit world. I'm going to explain the separation sequence. I'm going to explain what are angels, what is channeling, what are we channeling, not who. There's no who. Well, there was a band called The Who, but that's not important. And I'm going to get to you to realize how I did this and how innocent it was. Man, we fucked up, but properly, but completely innocent, just like a kid. You know, he wants to, his daddy said he wants a new red car. Daddy drives a white car. And daddy goes to the garage, and there's little William painting daddy's car with a red paintbrush. Innocent. They fucked that car up properly. Can't resell it. We fell asleep innocently. And the rest is just storytelling as to probabilities and possibilities of how this came about. And the minute you take any of it seriously, the minute you think you're spiritual, the minute you think you're a holy man or woman, notice it's mostly holy men, not holy women. It's the men that fuck this up, mostly. The minute you take it seriously, the minute you take yourself seriously, the minute you think you know, the minute you stand by your belief and wave your fist and go to war for your God and your belief and your country, you're fucked. That's it. You sleep, coming back, gonna do it again. But ultimately, there's no you doing anything. It's one dreaming mind. That fractured thought, which is going to be reabsorbed into the collective ooze of forgetfulness, it'll be back. And why is it that you can't remember before you came here? And why is it that you cannot remember your source or choosing this life or choosing this body? Because before you came, you convinced yourself not to. I can convince you that you can. I can show you how. Not that you want to. Because imagine you wake up the next morning and you realize, I'm married to my sister. You're not going to like that. In your previous life, your husband was your sister. That's going to be fun. Or I've just married my worst enemy in my last life, the one that stabbed me in the back several times. And then you're not going to enjoy your marriage. So you don't want to know. It's actually irrelevant. All you do want to know is the knowing of your true self. There's a lot of this NDE stuff going around on YouTube now. Now it's great because people are now getting NDEs, near-death experiences, near-death illusions. And the spirit world and whatever they see, and God's always going to show them the future. The world's going to end. The world's always fucking ending. That's a joke. Could be around for billions more years. Billions. Billions. It's all filtrations of their beliefs seen through etherical experiences. Don't believe a single thing anyone tells you. Don't believe anything I tell you. Don't believe anything you read. Listen to all. Be entertained by all of it. The direct path. Until it's experienced and revelation, don't believe it. Be open to it. Careful that doesn't influence you, because if it influences you, it steers you. Be neutral, be kind, be yourself. And if you have nothing nice to say, read, observe, don't comment. And just before you're about to comment and say something stupid, if you don't know better, be quiet. And if you don't know what that means, it means, please shut the fuck up. Namaste. Let's return to the joyous being we are. It's so simple.